Welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, a little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And, I thought about doing this a little bit earlier. The problem is sometimes there are multiple things I want to talk about, and I only have X number of shows. I do far too many every week. I'm constantly putting out content for you guys to see kind of who I am and what I'm thinking and what I think matters. And I always want to, when I can, at least once a week, put out an AMA, kind of an Ask Me Anything so more people can get involved. The goal is always to get more people involved to the best of my ability. I hope you guys are going to help me out with that. So sadly, tonight will not be on Rumble. Don't know why Rumble is down for some reason, so I couldn't get on Rumble tonight. So no Rumble tonight, but I am on Instagram to make up for Rumble, I guess. Anyway, so I am on that, and also, of course, YouTube, and of course, X, and of course, Facebook, as always. Today, I wanted to talk about something that I thought was kind of interesting. And this is a bunch of, I think this is Democrats trying to fight back. That's what I say. I think it actually is. And to be forward, for them, I think it worked. I think it was not a bad way of fighting back. I think the Democrats are trying to fight back and look like they're going to beat up on Trump, which can be challenging. They maybe have finally learned something. Maybe, I don't know, but I feel like they have. The Democrats have been so weak so often, so many times, that when they do stand up, other Democrats, particularly their voters, love it. I show this all the time. I bring it up 1,000 times. It's so important. If you remember when Biden was running against Trump in 2020, and he was like, I'm going to take Trump out back and beat him up, and that dumb thing he said, boy, Democrats ate that up like he was feeding them candy. They could not stop. They were, oh my God, like candy. They couldn't wait. And I think that part is an important thing. If you want to make Democratic voters feel good, they have to believe you're fighting against the evil Trump. They have to believe that. And I think this actually, as nutty as it might have seemed, I think it worked. I know. And what you were asking, there were 6 Democratic senators and congressmen who put out a video. I'll show it to you in a second. That's talking about how if you are a member of the intelligence community or the other community or military community, you have a right to refuse illegal, unlawful orders. Now, you might go, Larry, that doesn't sound crazy in itself. It doesn't. You're right. If all you did was say those words, hey, by the way, if you are supposed to follow the Constitution, and if you get illegal orders, you don't have to follow them. That's not a crazy thing by itself. Well, why don't you look and you tell me what you hold on what you think. You tell me what you think. All right, hold on. I'm going to show you and you can tell me what your feelings on this are. I'll give you mine in a second, but you can watch this and decide how you want to decide. I'm going to show this on full just so you can see it for a moment.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
Who take risks each day
to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Okay.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
like us.
Now, that's the part that is an issue that I get how people can be bothered by, because that's the preface. If this was just a video to say, we support you guys, it's tough, I get it, right? I think most people go, move on. But that they put that preface piece up there on, see, Trump is making us fight each other. That's the part where I can understand why people are getting upset.
You all swore an oath
To protect and defend this Constitution.
And right now,
By the way, so did all of them.
Constitution aren't
And they have the most illegal shit. Anyway.
just coming from abroad.
But from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law.
Or our Constitution.
We know this is hard.
And that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
In the Army,
Our Navy,
The Air Force.
Your vigilance
Okay, so Marines, they didn't count us, Mike. So this is not for us. So Marines, you guys shut up and keep following orders. Everybody else, he literally didn't add the Marines.
Is critical.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
Our Constitution,
And who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
don't give up.
don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
That's the video. So now you've seen the video in whole, right? So now I didn't like take a piece of it. You saw the whole thing in whole. The question is this sedition, as they say? Because the response, boy, was there. Let me see if I get the response here real fast. The response, boy, that was a response. Here comes the response from the president. And if they were trying to get him to take the bait, boy, did he take the bait. The president 100% took the bait.
President Donald Trump has more harsh words for House Democrats. So get this. The president is angered by a Washington newspaper's report saying that some Democratic lawmakers released a video urging members of the military to ignore unlawful orders.
Yep.
In fact, look at this. Trump said on Truth Social this morning, "This is really bad and dangerous to our country. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. Seditious behavior from traitors. Lock them up." And then,
Okay, keep going. Yep.
a short time later, the president finished with this thought: seditious behavior, punishable by death.
Punishable by death. Boy, did he fall for that bait. Shame on you, Trump, for falling for that shit, because that was dumb. That was bait, and he went, he took it. He took it. All he had to do, Trump, was say nothing. And the Republican establishment, the Republican machinery, the Republican, the Fox Newses of the world would have jumped all over this and called them traitors and blah, 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 and all this stuff without him having to say a word. He took the bait. I remember back in 2020 when a lot of New Yorkers didn't want to vote for Trump. They changed their mind in 2024, but in 2020 they didn't. And you ask them why. Right? Why you don't vote for Trump? And they say the same thing. I wish they'd take his phone away, because they hated when he would do shit like this. Trump, this is dumb. You should not have said this. Keep your mouth shut. Let your spin machine do its job, as it would have done for sure. It's literally your spin machine. It would have done it for you without you having to do it, and you did it. Insanely silly. He should have not touched this at all. He'd be like, well, whatevs. And then maybe let like a reporter ask, what about, whatever, the so-and-so on Fox News who said they should die, or whatever they would have said. He then could have commented on that. Well, whatever, let him die, whatever. He could have done the Trump thing. This was dumb. But Andrea, as always, has it right. Trump is going to Trump. He is. Trump is going to Trump. He is. Yes. That was, Trump is going to Trump, because that's what he's going to do. He should have left this alone. The spin machine would have done its job. Let it go. And if you think I'm the only one who thinks that, I'm not. This is over on Crystal and Friends. Crystal and Friends agrees with me in this one. They're like, why did he say anything? Literally, he just took the bait. Why?
Let's go to the next part on sedition, shall we?
Yeah, so you guys have been probably following the story. We covered it on the show. Alyssa Slotkin, Mark Kelly, and some other Democratic members of Congress, like national security Dems, who either come out of the seat.
Yeah, Nosy says it too. Nosy gets it. As I always say, he gave him the win by swallowing the hook. Yes. He could have just said nothing. Just keep your mouth shut. That's it. No need. Keep your mouth shut.
Former CIA or former military put out this video saying, hey, if there are unlawful orders, you should not follow them. Not specifying which unlawful orders, etc.
Now, that was what the savviest part of Democrats did. I know some of you don't like Democrats be mad, but I give credit where credit is due. Even when it's Trump, you've seen me praise Trump. You've seen me scold Trump. You've seen me praise Democrats. You've seen me scold Democrats. In this case, Trump screwed up. He should have said nothing, let his spin machine do it. And the Democrats did a good job. They didn't specifically say this. They skirted right around the edges. I hate to say it, but Crystal's right on this one. That they went right around the edges.
And I think it was meant to provoke, and it certainly got that response.
100%.
Trump started calling them the Seditious Seven. He retweeted
Seditious
a comment
6, by the way,
that,
fine.
George Washington would have had them hanged. He said they were traitors, etc. Well, we have a new escalation in this battle. We can put E1 up on the screen. This is the Department of Defense statement here. They say the official statement, the Department of War has received serious allegations of.
So now they're going to check it out and see what's going on. And this is true. I mean, you can, if you want to, bring somebody back who's retired.
Misconduct.
That's true. This, by the way, is not for anyone who is enlisted and has done their time and then left, right? Who has done their time and then left. Like, I'm enlisted. I was enlisted for 7 years. I did my 7 years. I'm gone. They can't bring me back and court-martial me, right? Mike was enlisted. He did his time. He's out. They can't bring him back and court-martial him. However, if you are a retired officer, they can. That's a thing most people don't know. They can. What they're saying is not wrong. They can
Captain
do it.
Mark Kelly, retired in accordance with the Uniform Code of Military Justice and other applicable regulations.
He's still getting a check. He's getting a check every month. He retired. He's an officer. He's still getting a check. He's still officially an officer. They can recall him and send him to war. Me and Mike are square. They can't touch us. Right? But they can literally mess with himself. So this is true. People don't know this. This is actually true. I want to move a bit further. This is just them attacking, but I'm going to keep going. Then he goes off after that.
Response
and says,
here up on the screen as well.
I did all my
what
cool
he was
things.
saying. So
and I got to tell you, again, smart for him. This is good for him. He's now saying, look at all I did. I'm a combat guy. I shot people down. I dropped bombs. And we go, oh, damn. Democrats eat this up. They eat this up, right? Absolutely. So now you're a Democratic war hero. If you want to get Democrats out to vote, if you want to get Democrats to give money, this is exactly what you do. Now, Republicans still hate him, but they were never going to vote for him anyway. Republicans are still mad at him. They're not going to give him any money. He loses nothing from doing this, meaning Mark Kelly loses nothing from this. But now he's now fighting Trump. Oh, if he's fighting Trump, well, then Democrats love that. And they're going to throw money at this guy. And Sauer goes as far as to say it's actually going to save his election in Arizona. And I think Sauer may be right in this one. I think Sauer
he says,
right.
when I was 22 years old, I commissioned as an ensign in the United States and brought home the bodies. It won't work. I've given too much to this country. I mean, what they said is basically on its face uncontroversial.
And that's the part that was brilliant of what the Democrats did. She's right. You have to dig down and interpret. You're going to get our judges, half of them Democrats, half of them Republicans, to dig down and the rest. No way. Zero chance. I don't care what Hegseth does. Zero chance of that happening. Literally zero.
That hey, if there are illegal orders, you don't have to follow them, and you actually shouldn't follow them, which is just, Ryan was saying, it's basically hey, don't commit crimes. It's very on its face, very uncontroversial. But because of the context around it, it was obviously meant to provoke. And they did that very effectively. I mean, it reminded me of a sort of a Trumpian tactic. I was like, oh.
Thank you. I hate when I have to say Crystal's right. I do. I hate that. But in this case, she is correct. This was a well-done piece by Democrats. They thought this one out. Usually they drop the ball. They did not drop the ball in this at all.
Well, these centrists are actually learning a little bit of something. And now they've created this whole conversation around, okay, well, which orders would be unlawful and what are you talking about? And a whole furor around this with the Trump freak out and overreaction here. So I wonder what you make of it.
Yeah, they're doing this guy the biggest favor they ever could. Mark,
Thank you.
Do you know how much skill it takes to make Mark Kelly compelling as a figure? Right? It's one of the most boring guys I've ever seen in my life. Look, no offense to his service record, not saying anything bad, just saying, it's like I've seen the guy in person. There's not a lot going on there. But this is the best thing they could have done for him. In fact, the Democrats have already sent multiple fundraising emails with that exact same.
See, all you Republicans who are out there going, yeah, but it's this, but it's that. You don't get it. You don't. And it's because you don't spend enough time around Democrats and the left. You don't understand it. So you think, oh, he got owned. Kelly didn't get owned. Kelly just probably doubled his fundraising. He probably doubled his. He's going to win his election next time because of this. And you Republicans like, yeah, we're going to get him. You ain't getting nobody. He did exactly what he was trying to do. And Trump totally took the bait, totally jumped on board. Now Trump's fighting them as seditious six. Do you think the seditious six to Democrats is an insult? They love it. They're going to be out there with seditious sticks, flags. They're going to love this shit. They've been talking about all their stuff. You're going to watch guys like TYT, all the left-leaning ones like, see, they're heroes, blah, blah. Watch the money come pouring in. This is literally the perfect thing to do. And Trump and Hegseth fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. They should have said nothing. They literally just made sure they're going to have more people in the Senate win. That was a dumb move. Let this shit go. It was bait. It was total bait. How many times, if you're on my team, have stuff come out and you guys are like, you got to touch this, Larry? Go, why? It's bait. I'm not touching this stuff. This was bait and Trump fell for it.
Thing when the headers are all like, he wants to throw me in prison. They're going to turn this guy into a resistance hero. They recall him for court martial. By the way, given the conduct now currently of the way like the judicial system that they have, their track record, let's say, for example, in the Comey case, Letitia James, Sandwich Guy, multiple of these other cases they've brought, I wouldn't be so confident, that they can come.
Oh, I mean,
they can't do any of that. I'll stop sharing that. I just want you to show that piece. This to me was, but let me now explain why this is actual garbage for even Democrats, right? Because Mark Kelly cares so much. He cares so much. I get that he cares so much and we have to care about, not following the bad orders and stuff. What did Mark Kelly think about lockdowns? Oh, he was all in. Yeah, he was. What did Slotkin think of lockdowns? Oh, she was all in. Absolutely. What did Houlihan think of lockdowns and mandates? Oh, they were all in. So keep your mouth shut when it's lockdowns and mandates. Jab, jab, mandates. Fauci, ouchie, mandates. Shut up. Do as we say. But Orange Man says something. Well, then you should, fight and stuff. Then you should fight and stuff. Yeah, no. These guys, it's total hypocrisy. And if anything, pull that out. And of course, because I'm that kind of guy, I'm gonna, because this is Mark Kelly. This should be the thing. This is him earlier this year talking about
with her record
Tulsi Gabbard
on Edward Snowden.
Oh, Edward Snowden.
Edward Snowden was a government contractor who stole and then leaked highly classified information from the.
So to be clear, again, if it is, in this case, if it's Orange Man saying stuff, go against him. But when it's Biden trying to defend Snowden or Obama defending Snowden, well, Snowden's evil, don't do anything. He's a bad guy. Clearly hypocrisy. This you, Mr. Kelly. How come at this point Snowden shouldn't have got rid of illegal orders, which was, of course, why was it illegal? Because they were spying on Americans. Edward Snowden is a hero who deserves to be pardoned and given a Medal of Freedom. And they should make a statue. I don't care where. Put a statue of his ass someplace. And they should give him money. We got to drop $1 zillion on us bullshit. Give him some money. Give him some money, whatever the case may be. Snowden's a hero. But Kelly said he's a bad guy because, orders and stuff, and American people care about you and stuff. Yeah, when it's Trump, you do. When it's Snowden, you don't. So yeah, just want to make sure that we didn't get that part back. That's the part that we're talking about. This, by the way, oh yeah, I got a little bit more. This, by the way, if I can find this one, this is Houlihan, who was talking all about the jab is our best weapon, and that mandates for that and the masks are important. And again, her point, masks, even if you got the jab. This is her. This one was talking about Americans need you and blah, 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 blah. That's her. Hypocrite too. So I'm not trying to say these Democrats are good people. They're not. Or they care about the Constitution. They don't. They make terrible decisions based on the Constitution. Period. Terrible. They're hypocrites. So I'm not saying they're good because they're not. What I'm saying is this was bait and the Republicans took it. That's what I'm saying. This was bait, and the Republicans took it, and they shouldn't have. That's my entire point. Is it actually sedition? No, of course it's not sedition. It's Democrats throwing up bait bullshit that is legally fine, and then people jumping on it. Of course it's not. Of course it's not. They're saying it being silly. Of course it's not. You get to say you think people should not follow orders or whatever. These guys are just all hypocrites. Oh, Democrats are all hypocrites because they pass insanely bad laws that are completely unconstitutional every day of the week. So anyway, Phil, thank you for $2, my friend. Happy Thanksgiving, Turkey Train. Thank you. I appreciate Turkey Day Train. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, my friend. All right, let me walk down some of these if I can. All righty. I will try to keep something on topic now, and then I'll pop off to some of the other ones if I can. D says, programming note, no show on Thursday, holiday show on Friday, no shows on the weekend. Make sure to watch all episodes. She's right. Do all of those things. Johnson says, happy Thanksgiving Eve. Phil says, happy Thanksgiving Eve. Yes, to everybody, please. I agree. Yes. Nosi says, I hope everyone has a happy bird day. That would be awesome. So yes. All righty. Let's see. Rick Paul says, no living family. So just when December 26th to get here. Oh, Rick, that's actually shitty. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. Guys, Rick, if you're located someplace nearby, you should go over somebody's house. You should go over somebody's house. That would be nice. Or someone should go over your house, whichever is appropriate. You should. I hope you have some people who you can go over their house, or they can come over your house. That would be better. You should do that. You should hang out with somebody tomorrow. I don't care who. You should hang out with somebody. You should. That's just my opinion. Obviously, do as you see fit, but that's my opinion. So, yes. All righty. A bunch of those. Where am I going? All righty. Mike goes on to say, what happened in DC today is directly a result of Mark Kelly and Slotkin. They should be recalled and come. Utter horseshit. Nope. Republican propaganda. Total Republican propaganda. Some dude showed up and shot two National Guardsmen in DC. Okay. How is that? I don't know, military men or something disobeying orders or something. That's not Republican propaganda. Nobody believed this shit. Mike, why do you believe this shit? Absolutely not true. That happened to happen. They're not related whatsoever. Republicans gonna this is my perfect point. Perfect point. Why did Trump say anything? Why did Hegseth say anything? This shit happens today, and the Republican spin machine goes right into effect and propagandizes people like Mike. There's no fucking tomorrow. Of course they would do that. Mike proves my point. Why did Trump say anything? There's no need to say anything. The spin machine was already in play. Utterly, that's utter horseshit. Not even, no way related whatsoever. Not related at all. But of course, that's the reason why. Of course not. Utter horseshit. Not even close to true. Propaganda. But again, that's the propaganda machine. Again, Democrats have it too. This happens to Republicans. Guys, that's why the two-party system sucks. Because the second something happens, other guy's bad. Other guy's bad. So, yeah, no way. Shelley says, oh, to Rick, it could be worse. You could have family that live too far away to visit. That does kind of suck sometimes. So, yes. Adirondack says, I'm thinking the same thing. Don't believe that shit, Adirondack. Don't believe that. They're not related at all. They're not related. 100% not related. Guaranteed. Mashman says, Trump really has become unhinged. You know what? I do get a bit of it, though. I do. Like, I get the frustration. I get it, too. I get it. Obviously, his frustration is 45,000 times more than mine, but I get it. I get the frustration. I definitely get it. But still, you can't. Look, I sometimes say stuff I probably shouldn't say either. But I try my best to not do that. To not do that. I try to not take the bait. I sometimes do, but I try not to. And if you're president of the United States, don't take the bait. You got people. You have tons of people who could have put that out on their own. The spin machine would have kept going. All of them. 100%. Yes. So Mike says, not one of them can name a single legal order from Trump ever. Oh, true. This wasn't real. This was bait. They're all hypocrites, Mike. Every Democrat in that thing was a hypocrite. Every one of them has easily voted for illegal, unconstitutional laws. I don't have to know. I'm 100% sure Every one of them voted for unconstitutional laws. 100%, no doubt. They're all hypocrites. But that's the point. You're taking this shit too seriously, just like Trump did. This was a way to bait Republicans so they could raise money, and it totally worked. It totally worked. Of course they can't name an order. They didn't want to. That wasn't the goal. The goal was to raise money, working like a charm. Of course not. They're all hypocrites, dude. Of course. I know sometimes people get on the way and they start saying, oh, well, look at what they sort of did. Nobody cares. In reality, they don't care either. They're all total hypocrites. I just showed you a couple ways they're hypocrites. You could probably name 20 more times they're hypocrites. They don't care. Rick says it. You must refuse to vote for unconstitutional legislation. Excuse me. They don't do that. I wish they would. Andrea says, maybe they should reread the Constitution. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. Yes. All right, I'm going to grab here. Phil says, one of the things that's really frustrating is I think that this type of thinking that these specific Democrats are talking about leads to some of the illegal actions that in Trump's first admin. That leads to the type of illegal actions. I mean, I don't know. I think that's a tough one, Phil. I mean, like, you'd have to be more specific for me to get that one. I don't know. Philo Abstract says, asking the obvious, how many unconstitutional orders have all of them signed into and or given? Yes. Thank you. The hypocrisy is dripping. I found like 3 things, not even looking. I'm sure I could have found 20. You could do an entire show, no doubt. No doubt. Any of us could do an entire show just on the hypocrisy of those 6 Democrats. No doubt. And that's my point with Mike. They weren't trying to. Nobody cares. I go back to the same thing. Was Biden honestly going to take Trump out back in a barn and beat him up? Of course not. That was bait. And the Democrats ate that up like there was no tomorrow. They're like, delicious candy. Can I have some more, please? And he said, yeah, I'll give you a little bit more candy here. And the Democrats did the same thing. Hey, we think that we could raise a bunch of money, particularly because of, if you guys remember, particularly because how they caved on the government shutdown. This was, I mean, I know a lot of you guys hate Democrats. I know you hate me saying it. But I'm going to give credit where credit is due. I have praised Trump when he's done well and trashed him when he hasn't. The Democrats, and I just did a show like 2 weeks ago, how they completely dropped the ball on this government shutdown. They totally caved to Trump. It was a total Trump victory. And Trump was in trouble. He was worried. They had Trump on the ropes, and they totally screwed up, and Trump won the government lockdown, a government shutdown. He totally won a government shutdown. I know Democrats hate to hear that, but it's totally true. He won. And Democrats are like, damn, we screwed that up. Chuck Schumer screwed us, and all the boys screwed us over. We're screwed. Now what? And somebody thought of this. If you've noticed, if you've been watching the numbers, Democrats have not been raising much money since then. They've been hurting on raising money. That's true. Look at your homework. The Republicans are raising more money than Democrats. So Democrats said, now what do we do? We'll do this. Trump will take the bait, hook, line, and sinker. We'll all be fighting Trump again. And we got Orange Man bad, and the money keeps flowing. Boom. So everything you're saying, you're right. And they don't care. They never cared. That's the whole point. This was all just a troll to raise money, and it worked. So yes. Ronna says, laughing my ass off, the military has been active in unconstitutional and illegal acts since post-World War II. Yes. Now it's a problem. It's not a problem. We've been on the show forever. They're utter hypocrites. Total hypocrites. But again, I want you to try, Ron, if you could, to put yourself in the mind of an establishment Democrat. A Democrat who thinks that the Democratic Party is still the better alternative to the Republican Party. A Democrat who thinks that Trump is a bad guy and he's ruining all the norms of America, which is what most mainstream Democrats believe, and that the only way of surviving is this, and then you watch them fail, right? And then all of a sudden, you got 6 of them who stand up and fight and say this stuff. You go, I thought we didn't have a chance. Oh, we do. We could beat the evil orange man. I just got an email from Mark Kelly saying he needs me to help him with $10 a month. Put your credit card in. I wish I was joking. If any of you think I'm joking, watch the numbers next month when they put the numbers out. Watch the explosion in Democrats getting money. Watch over this. Watch. You'll see it. Boom. Perfectly done. So it was never, to be fair, Bronna, it's not a problem now. It's still not a problem. Not the issue. Excuse me. All righty. Liberty says, get your comments, last question, move to the front in the line, spank that dollar, green dollar sign, let the super chat, try and get moving. I do appreciate that, guys. Yes, if you can. Those in the super chat saying, I meant CIA selective leaks like Woodward and Nixon. Oh, like that. Got it. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Those are selective leaks. True. Yes, that's true. By the way, she was right. And also something else, click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. As you guys know, I have split everything. Sharpe waves on one side, Larry Sharpe's on the other. So now I've cut everything in half. My viewership's cut down. My marketing's cut down. I need extra help now. How do you do that? By interacting. Please click that button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Please share, repost to the best of your ability. It's important to share and repost. Subscribe to the whatever channel or page you're watching now. I would appreciate it if you can. Do that to the best of your ability. I do appreciate it. And of course, if you want to get your comment to the front, you can super chat me. You can't Rumble me. You can't ram me on Rumble this today because no Rumble today. I don't know why. Rumble's UI was down, so I couldn't get up. You can do that if you want to. All good. But either way, please click the button known as like. I'm going to head over to Instagram. And the Cameron Barnett says, keep up the great work, sir. Thank you. He also says, did you apply to work for Mamdani's transition team? I'm sure I already know the answer, but I could be wrong. I did not apply. I get why people would. I do. It's going to be a great job if you want to do it. If you live in New York City, good government job. I get why you would do it. But no, I'm going to pass. I did not apply to be on Mamdani's transition team. He might have taken me, believe it or not. He might have. I'm a good political consultant. He might have taken me if I'd applied. It's possible. But I did not apply, so I'll never know if he would have taken me or not. Perhaps he would have, perhaps he wouldn't have, but I will never know. So, yes. Okay. Let me grab some more of these. Phil says, Slotkin scares me. Manchurian candidate much. Yes, absolutely. She's a toughie. All right, let's go down here. Gene says he didn't start with Trump. True. And Trump could have said nothing. Robert says, I know they don't have a member of the CIA helping deliver this message. They can't be serious. Thank you. See? It is, Robert gets it. It's so obviously a troll, right? That's my point. It's so, I looked at it and I was like, what are you kidding me? Bronner saw it. It's trolling. Robert saw it. Rick saw it. It's just trolling. This was it was so obviously bait that, again, his propaganda machine would have taken and run with it. Of course they would have done it. You see, they already did it already. They made today's thing about whatever, which is not. But they've done that. That was going to happen anyway. Him saying anything was silly. Andrea says it. Rick, right? They pass unconstitutional laws all the time. Yes, utterly a troll. It's so them saying what they said is so obviously hypocritical. Again, I looked online for literally like 7 minutes, and I found 3 examples of them being hypocrites. If you want to do a show, you could probably do an hour on each of them being hypocrites. You could probably do a 6-hour show. Mike, 6-hour show, Sunday. Just saying, you could probably do a 6-hour show on each of them being hypocrites. Of course. That's why it's so funny. Such a troll. Mike goes, all Trump did was read a penalty for sedition. Less inciting than what Dems did. He didn't just do that. He called for their death. That's more. But my point is, he should have done nothing. That's the point. Mass Manawa says, at least we aren't talking about, you know what? Maybe I'm wrong on this one. Now, you mastermind made me think maybe I went too far. Maybe Trump's trumping was better. So you think maybe he was like, I'm gonna jump on this so they're not talking about the EpiPen files? The E-files? I don't know. Maybe. You know, if that were true, I could, at least that would make sense if that were true. I think Trump just got triggered. But if he was thinking that, okay, I could buy it. Like, let's blow this out of proportion so no one's talking about the E-files. Maybe. But again, I think Fox News would have done it for him. I don't think he's jump on this. and they don't raise so much goddamn money. So you don't wind up screwing your other senators. Kelly's a Democratic senator from Arizona. He could lose that seat. I don't want him raising money if I'm a Republican, right? I don't want him raising money. I want him raising nothing. I want him saying as boring as possible. I want whatever my cool Republican is going to pop up and act like he's, whatever, the new Rand Paul or whatever. He's going to pop up and try to win this thing. That's what I would want. So maybe. The HVAC soldier says, no soundbites allowed. All Trump did was demand the Democrats get arrested, convicted, and executed. True. Yes. D says, I owe a lot of people. I told you so with Trump. Yeah. Phil says, former CIA. True. Also true. All righty. Mike is pissed. Okay. I'm sorry, Mike. I got you mad. I think we're about to trigger Mike. I'm going to get triggered. Mike's telling me to stop. I think maybe Mike got triggered this time. He says, screw Crystal. This is an attempt to undermine U.S. infrastructure. Trump must speak to retain integrity of chain of command, not speaking peace to Dems in their attempt to imply unfounded criminality. Now, the Dems already believe that. So no one is convinced by this. That's the issue, right? There's no Democrat who goes, oh, Trump said something. Now I think the Dems are wrong. Zero Democrats did that. There's not one Democrat in the entire country that went, wait a minute, Trump called for their death? Maybe the Dems are wrong. Happened to zero people. Nobody. Anyone who's a Democrat was like, yeah, I knew Trump did that because he's evil and they were right the whole time. They all did that. Trump doing Trump reinforced Democrats. He gained zero people with that. This is not true. There's zero evidence. No, he's not going to gain in popularity because of that. He's not going to defend something, chain of command. Nope, that's not a thing. And no troops went, wait a minute. Trump said that they should die. Now I'm more loyal to Trump. No troop said that. Doesn't exist. That's your propaganda. None of that's true. No evidence of any of that being true. Nothing. This is just him getting pissed off, or Mastermind's right, and he was like, okay, this is better than EpiPen. One of the two. I think he's got triggered. And he doesn't have to speak. He could have said nothing. He could have said nothing. No one would have cared. He could have said nothing. He could have laughed it off, and it would have worked just as well. So yes. All righty. See if I can go down here. Fred go Dems doing Dem thing. True. Look, if there's one thing Democrats are really good at, it's hypocrisy. I mean, they are really good at that. That's one of their skill sets. So this fits right. Again, it fits right in. Like, you see it. It's almost like I'm saying, hi, I'm bait. Don't bite me. Now, don't do that. Right? Yes. Any case. All righty. 99 Rising says, Larry, a more libertarian question. Okay, so I guess we're off of that for now. We'll head back to that one. It's fine. A more libertarian question. This is an AMA. How do you balance desire for the freest markets with the tendency for companies to be incentivized by deception, lying, controlled obsolescence? Okay. I'm not sure that is a very broad question. Do you mean as a government? Do you mean as a company? I'm not sure. I mean, let me try to give you a couple different ones if I can. It's very broad. All right. Companies are not necessarily incentivized to be deceptive. That's not true. Not necessarily. If they're public companies, they are. Public companies are anything that gets out affects their stock price. So they are encouraged and advised to deceive. Not just that, they're going quarter to quarter. So they're incentivized to have short-term thinking. Short-term thinking, lying is very effective short-term. Long-term, it's not. Long-term, lying always comes back to bite you. Short-term, it doesn't. Short-term, you get the short-term piece. It takes time for the market to respond. So short-term, you do very well short-term. So public companies have an incentive to lie and be deceptive. They do. But non-public companies don't. The reverse is true. Non-public companies want to build something larger for the future. Their incentive is to not lie, which is why they often get sued and have problems. So if I'm a company, I'm only incentivized to be deceptive if I'm a public company. Otherwise, I'm not. How do you fix that? You say, if you're a public company, then you are basically open to the public, and therefore you do not have the same safeties and the same, corporate veil that protects the people on the top of your board, your C-suite. So you punish the C-suite directly. That's how you're around it, which you should. That's libertarian, right? You might go, wait a minute, that's not libertarian. No, that's very libertarian, right? Consequences for your actions. The more you can pierce the corporate veil and attack the people who make the bad decisions, the more you can do that, the better off you're going to be. What I mean by that, here's what actually happens in most rooms, like the big rooms like that. They'll get together and talk. Hey, I've got this plan that can make us whatever, $180 million. And people talk about it. Oh, great, sounds good. Hey, lawyer, what's the downside? And lawyer says, well, the downside is if we get in trouble, we'll do a lawsuit, blah, blah. We'll lose about $20 million. We'll still make $160 million. Guy goes, oh, okay, let's go do it. Done. That downside could have been people being harmed, things being wrong, fraud, whatever. We're still going to make 160 million? Yeah. Worst case, we lose 20. We'll still make 160. Done. Move on. They go to lunch. Done. Change that. Hey, lawyer, if we do this, then what's the worst going to happen? Well, the worst can happen is we can lose $20 million and the DOJ can come after you personally and put you in jail. What? Yeah. If these people die or it's a lie, you might go to jail. I might go to jail. Yeah. You personally, you might go to jail. Damn. Let's rethink this. That's how you incentivize. By piercing the corporate veil of public companies, because public companies are incentivized to deceive and to lie. Private companies aren't. I know people think I'm wrong. It's not true. They're not incentivized for that. They're not. If you're a public company or heavily, let me change that. Public company or heavily leveraged, which are often the same. So if you're heavily leveraged, sometimes you are also incentivized because you're heavily leveraged. So I would go to either of those two in that specific case. Hope that's helpful. As a government, you want to support as many smaller companies that can compete against the big companies as possible. The more smaller companies that compete, the more the larger companies have to worry about longer term survivability. They can't just knock off one or two competitors and move on, right? Like doing dumping and stuff. Dumping can crush an opponent, as an example, right? Crush an opponent, and then you go back to regular. But if you've got multiple opponents, dumping often can't crush all of them. So I hope that was clear. That was a broad question. Hope it makes sense. So, we got gift membership, guys. Thank you. Phil gives a membership. Andrea gives a membership. Adirondack gives a membership. Guys, grab those members if you can. I appreciate that. Please grab those memberships. And of course, if you want to become a member, grab those. Or you can become a member yourself if you want to. Head over to YouTube, click that join button, $6.99 per month. Moves everything forward, makes everything better for the team and us. So if you can do so, please do so. It does matter. Thank you for that, guys. I appreciate it tremendously. All right. I'm going to keep grabbing some more. I'm going to go back to the top, I think, so I can grab people that weren't talking about this. Vivek asks, what do you think about the proposed peace deals in Ukraine? Is the U.S. or European one better? Neither doesn't matter. Neither doesn't matter. It's just talk. Doesn't matter. If Ukraine has to accept, and this is horrible, I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying it's true. Those are two separate things. Ukraine has to accept that Russia is going to get any land back that Ukraine took, which is a little bit up north. I forgot the little chunks that Ukraine took. They're going to get it back. Ukraine will have to give it up. And Russia is going to get all of the provinces that it wants, period. That's going to happen. Ukraine has to accept that. And they're having trouble. Not just that. Ukraine has to accept they are going to have a small army, very small, a defensive army at best. It's going to be tiny. And they will have to get some kind of guarantee from some other nation, whether that's a NATO nation or whatever, Turkey, whatever. They will have to accept that. And if they don't, it is relevant. Russia will not stop. I know everyone's going to say, Russia's getting their ass kicked. No, they're not. That's not a thing. That's propaganda. That's not true. Russia's not going to stop fighting. And they are winning this war now. And they've been winning it. The only way Russia will not be winning this war is if if multiple European countries put boots on the ground or America puts boots on the ground. And America's ready to fight Venezuela, not Russia. So we're not going in. So unless that happens, they're going to lose. It's irrelevant, is my point. Ukraine has to accept this, which means, generally speaking, Zelensky has to accept stepping down. He hasn't so far. He's going to have to accept to step down, which sucks. I'm not saying it's right. People go, but the Russians invaded. As I say all the time when it comes to these wars, all the time, might makes right. I wish it didn't. It's true. No one's punishing Russia. No one's making Russia give reparations. That's not going to happen. But Russia was bad and they made it. Yes. And we bombed Iran. And we invaded Panama. And who stopped us? And Israel invaded Gaza. And who stopped them? That's not how it works. It would be nice if it worked that way. And we got a nice UN that's going to save the. It's not. It's not how it works. I just not how. I don't mean to be mean. It's not how it works. And China took Tibet. And so people could just take countries. Yes, we are seeing it now. That's how it works. Yes. When you have nuclear weapons, you just take shit. I wish that wasn't true. I wish we could change that. I wish we'd stop that. But there we go. Why do you think everybody wants nuclear weapons? Because you don't get invaded then. People can't take you out then. What if Ukraine had kept the nuclear weapons instead of giving them up? Ukraine gave them up. Boy, they regret that shit now, don't they? They kept the nuclear weapons. They don't get invaded. They don't get invaded. And I know people don't like it. They get mad at me when I say, Larry, you're a Putin puppet. Shut the fuck up. I'm a realist. I understand how the world works. You don't. You don't. I'm not saying he's right. Of course he's not right. I'm saying he's not right forever. He's not right. But for you to think in any way, shape, or form that Russia's going to pull out and give up rights to Ukraine, you live in a fantasy world, or you're just in a circle of the world that doesn't exist. I don't know. You have people who tell you that stuff. I don't know what. You believe propaganda. That's never going to happen. I have told people, and I went on record, if you guys, those who've been watching me, 3 years ago, when on Dylan Burns' show, Dylan Burns is a staunch Ukraine supporter. I mean, and respect to that man. He physically went there. He wasn't like, I'm going to have a flag on my Twitter account. No, he physically went there in the trenches and reported, yes, hardcore, that guy's all in. Kudos to you, brother. You didn't just talk the talk, you walked the walk. Nothing but respect. That guy supports Ukraine. Okay. And I told him 3 years ago, dude, I'm not saying Putin's right, but he's going to get what he wants. So this is why I was for the peace treaty early on. He was like, but it's wrong. Yes. But Putin's invaded. Yes. But Ukraine shouldn't be punished. True. But you want them to have a peace treaty. Yes. But everything is wrong. Yes. Because that's what's happening. So now, what I said 3 years ago is still true now. The Russians are going to get what I said 3 years ago. I said they would get it, and they almost got it now, except now we have how many millions of people dead and wounded? We don't even know. We won't know for years how many millions are dead and are wounded. We won't know for years. I would have rather have them not be dead and wounded. And given the people who don't want to live under Putin, this would have been my deal. Let the people who don't want to live under Putin make a dollar-wise swap to give them something where they can start restart their life in whatever the smaller Ukraine was going to be. The people who don't want to live under Ukraine, they get to move to the Russian side, give them some kind of cash. Oh, Larry, that's paying people to move. Or they die. Do you understand that? Or millions die and lose their arms and legs and have to leave their country and families are broken. Or here's a check, please move. But it's wrong to have to move. I know it's wrong. Still true. So you got me going a little bit, but people just drive me crazy in this. So anyway, Nose says, thank you for the $5, my friend. Let's make a law, Larry, everyone mandated to spend 70% of their yearly income. Just spend on anything. Either spend it or government take it or spend it on you. I love all those things. No, but no law. But yes, look, guys, here's the issue. If you remember, I was talking about this. When I'm running for governor, I would say, you should be able to take your tax dollars and do it and help out someone local. I still agree with that. Some non-government funded local charity, nonprofit. You should be able to do so. I agree. So put your money where you can. Now, do you want to spend it on me? Please, if you can, right? If you can. Some of you are doing very well. I know some of you are. Awesome. If you're doing well, throw me some cash. If that's where you are. Some of you aren't doing so well. No worries. Throw me less cash or no cash. But you know what? You can still repost this or share this. That's free. So if you're not doing well financially right now, and some of you are and some of you aren't, no worries. You can still hit the like button and share. That's free. You can do that if you want to. That is still free. So feel free to do that if you want to. But thank you for that law. I appreciate that $5, my friend. Yes, I do appreciate that. Okay, you got me going. That's your fault, Vivek. So that's your fault. All right. Anyway, let me keep going by here if I can. I covered that one. All right. I got that one. Trump is going to Trump. Okay, I'm keep going down here again. I'm going to grab a couple more of these if I can. Shelly says they called back my, I think, my then 78-year-old naval commander on 9/11. Yes. A lot of the older people will call back on 9/11 at 9/11 for two reasons was most common. Two very common reasons. One was chaplain, and second was doctors, medical personnel, because they didn't know what was going to happen. They were worried they didn't have enough of those of either of those two, as they were going to start, bringing more people aboard. So they brought a lot of people back on who were chaplains or also chaplain support staff or medical or doctors. A lot of that was coming. So yeah, that was a common issue, a common problem, I should say. All righty, hold on here. Let me grab this. All righty. Gene says it didn't start with Trump. Our federal government hasn't followed the Constitution since Truman sent our troops to Korea in 1950. True. The reason the high-ranking Democrats, Republicans who make up their oligarchy we live under hate Trump so much because he's an outsider. This piece is a critical part. She is correct. She is correct. Trump is not one of them in their eyes, right? Even though in many cases he was part of their donor class for sure. But I think a lot of them thought, oh yeah, he's not one of us, meaning he's not one of the I don't know what the oligarchy elites or something like that when it comes to politics. Yeah, so maybe. But I do see that. Yes, I think they think he's too crash and raw. I think that's true. So, all righty. Let's see if I can go down here. You guys went back and forth. That's good. HVAC Soldier says Southern conservative senators 100 plus years ago used to brag about lynching black voters. Other conservatives didn't complain, but this is somehow illegal. Good point. I wouldn't have gone that far, but okay. Yes. Phil, speaking Deutsch. Wie geht es dir, Rickpa? But those you know means how are you? Or it's translated to how are you, but it literally says how goes it to you? That's the literal translation of that, but it means how are you? How goes it? Yes. All righty. Let's see. Bronna says, I think some of you may hate me in this episode. I don't think so, Bronna. If they were going to hate you, they already did. So, yeah. They were already going to hate you. So, but they don't. I don't think so. Liberty's Letty says, in my opinion, Stone's a hero. True. Gene says, Stone's a national hero. True. 100% true. Yes. If Phil says, Stone deserves a tropical island. Yes. Mike says, within the week, Slotkin was suggesting National Guard would shoot Americans because of Trump on ABC. They were evil and got 2 National Guardsmen. I don't buy that. They didn't get it. All right. If next week, but whenever they come up with it, you see some data of some guy goes, I watched Slotkin and I thought the National Guard was going to kill me, so I shot him in self-defense. Okay, I'd buy it, but I doubt it. I doubt it. I think it's true. So, yeah. All righty. Let's see here. You grabbed that piece already. This is a bot. Hart, 2 of the pardon were arrested. 2 of them were arrested last week. Andrew Johnson was charged with SA of an 11-year-old. John Banuelos was charged with kidnapping and assault. Eek. Okay. Thank you. Oh, Mike says it's a bot. Okay, it was a bot. There we go. All right, Mike. Thank you, Mike. It looked like a bot to me. It was a bot. Okay. Well, thank you, bot. There we go. Thank you, bot. All right. Andrew says, did you see Jeffries and Schumer talking about the consolidation of meat processing? Sounds like they're listening to Massey. Yeah, this is the meat. For those of you who don't know, meat processing is a very big deal for most farmers, obviously, who use animals. And the way they do it at the national level, the federal level, is a disaster for most local farmers. They basically have corporate capture so that the smaller farmers get hammered and the bigger farmers are set. We want to change that. So that's why I was talking about, my answer was that you just want to let local farmers ignore federal law if they're going to not sell outside of the state, right? Not sell outside of state. But this kind of thing, if they could fix it, might work. Might work. Yes. So, all righty. Go down here again. Oh, Mike's mad at me. He's at, I disagree vehemently, Larry. This is my conclusion. It's based on Slotkin's statements, not Trump. My position since that video came up. I'm wrong on that. You're going to see. I'll tell you, next week we'll see. Next week, we'll see. We will see next week. I think you're wrong on this one. I think it's just propaganda. I don't buy it at all. This was all a troll. We'll find out next week. That's what I'll say. We'll find out next week. There we go. All right. I'm going to ignore the bot. And Ironic says, the 6 Dems infer the military is out there following legal orders. And if they're saying military will be used against us. That's true, but they've been saying that shit forever. That's not new. That's not new. Absolutely. All right. D says, if Snowden still does anything, every group is fed their propaganda to keep it divided. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. Nosy says, maybe someone should enforce the Constitution. D, I'm going to be good, D. I'm going to be good, D. I'm going to be good. There's a group of people who are supposed to enforce the Constitution, Nosy. You may know this, and you may not. Sadly, they don't know this or don't care. That would be our judges. They are supposed to enforce our Constitution by interpreting the laws. They're supposed to do that. They don't. CD, I was good. I was good. Okay. Philo Abstract says, it's kind of like when do Democrats not do the ball? This is the one time they didn't. They're usually a joke when they do these things. This one was good. This was good. Yes. This was good. So, John says, Democrats found President Trump guilty of crimes when there was no victim. True. James is a textbook case of mortgage fraud. A lot about being primary residence, listed father as spouse, and rented out. Look, I'll be very clear on this. This goes back to the same garbage. I think, my opinion, none of these should be crimes. They should be fines you pay if you screw something up. None of them. I think the whole thing on Trump was BS. But again, also the mortgage fraud stuff for the others is also BS. I would have charged none of them. I just would have said, hey, you screwed up, pay your fine or fee, have a nice day. If there is a fine or a fee, I'm assuming there's a fine or a fee. Pay your fine or fee, move on. But now I'm not mad that James got screwed on mortgage fraud because she punished Trump on that. So she deserves it now. If she didn't screw Trump over, if she'd been like, no, let it go, then I'd be the one saying, don't do James, leave her alone. I would be saying that now. I'm not saying that. Get her, because she did to Trump. And she is the ultimate, again, another Democrat hypocrite, of course, another one, right? They're all over the place. Another one. So she put Trump through all that shit, got him the mugshot, which he bought shirts on. I mean, nicely done on that one. Nicely done. Did that, right? So she did it. She can take it. Again, if it wasn't for what she did, I'd be like, why are you bugging her? Have her pay the fine or fee and move on. The idea that you could actually go to jail for this is insanely stupid. It's fine. Pay your fine or your fee. No one's harmed. There's no victim. Move on. And in the case of Trump, the banks didn't even say, well, the banks were like, we don't care. He paid us back. In the case of Trump, the banks were like, we're not mad. Like, we could have checked out his stuff. We didn't care. He was a billionaire. We didn't care because we don't care about billionaires. We just say yes to them all the time. It's what we do. We're banks, which is true, right? They don't care if it's Trump or any other billionaire. Oh, you're a billionaire? You want money? Here. That's my impression of a bank. Hi, you're a billionaire? Here's money. That's my impression of a bank. Done. You're not a billionaire? Let me put a microscope up your ass and decide if I'm going to give you money or not. Difference. So they gave him money. They didn't care. And he gave it back. He paid them back. And they were like, great, we made money on our debt. No worries. And they were like, he's got to go to jail. He's a 33rd, 3-time, whatever, felon or whatever dumb stuff they said about it. So, yes. Borna says, not a single illegal order. How about killing people in other countries without a congressional declaration of war since the last Korea? You're not wrong. Yes. Gene says, is the government still shut down or they don't know? I think it's open. I'm pretty sure. So, Yes. HVAC Soldier says, just remember, Larry, an order only becomes unlawful after the fact. Look up my lie. Yes. They threw an Army lieutenant under the bus today. They threw an E6 and below under the bus, E7 and up, pensions. Look, here's the part I'll be realistic about. We did something insanely, in my view, knee-jerk and wrong. And this is going to be a kind of a hot take for some of you. We punished a lot of the low-level yacht, because I'm on YouTube, Yahtzees after World War II. We punished some of the low-level ones and we should not have. But Larry, they were monsters. Yes. Yes, you're not wrong. But the leaders are always the ones responsible. Just following orders is not an excuse. Yes, it is. Sorry. Yes, it is. If someone says, hey, Larry, go shoot these guys. If you don't, I'm going to shoot your family. You getting shot. What do you mean do? When my entire country tells me I must do this, I'm not making the rules. They make it, well, they could have resisted. And some did. And what happened? They were executed. There's whole books on it. Unpopular families. One of the most popular families in Germany was the von Moltke family. I mean, a very popular family. All executed. Every one of them. Their line's at an end. There's not one fucking von Moltke left. They're all dead. Because they didn't want to follow orders. We did that after World War II for vengeance. Not what's smart. So now, justifying orders is never an excuse until it is. Until you have no choice. Until you have to. It's silly. Punish the leaders and punish them harshly. You punish the people who give the orders, who set the system. People respond to systems and environments all the time. It is human nature. It is what we do. It's what we do. Punish the leaders and punish them harshly because they had a choice to walk away. They had a choice. They had money and or power. They could have done something. They could have escaped. They could have left. They could have bailed. They could have made a coup, whatever. They had the power. The average E2, the average private in the freaking Marine Corps has a decision to make. So some Lance Corporal in the Marine Corps is going to go to some corner and go, I'm not doing that order. That's unlawful. Shut up. That's never going to happen. And you wouldn't expect it. And why would you punish that Lance Corporal? It's insanely stupid. And we punished some of the Germans who were low level after World War II, which was stupid. Punish the leaders and punish them harshly. They set the tone. They set the rules. Punish them. Why are we punishing the low level guys who are falling in line with the system that was put to them when you would have done the same thing? You'd have done the same thing if you're in that spot. So yeah, don't throw E6s and below under a bus. Don't do that. Put the officers, yes, put them in jail, lock them up, yes, 100%, no problem. If need be, they can see a firing squad if that's required. I'm not going to fight you on that. But why you mess with the Lance Corporals and the sergeants and the privates? They pulled the trigger. Shut up. You would have pulled the trigger too. Yes, you would have. You'd have pulled it too. You would have pulled the trigger too. I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm moving around. All right. Literally says, what type of things does Larry do to rest his voice? Honey in the throat, breathing treatments, taping mouth shut closed at night to breathe through the nose. Here's the book. There's a book, Breathe, that shows technique. I guess I got to go buy the book, Breathe now. Thank you, Liberty Lady D. I got to go do that now. No, I just don't talk for a while, which is challenging because I have two daughters who love talking to me whenever I'm off. So it can be challenging. You can see it sometimes. So yes, I'm sorry. Did I get spicy on that? I get tired of people being so. I get tired of people being so righteous when they would have done the same thing. And well, they were bad or they were this and just all righteous when you would have been the same damn way. And when saying no, I want you to think about, I'll go back to that. You're a Marine, you're a soldier, you're in war, and your lieutenant says, burn the village. Says, burn the village. And there was an example of this in the movie Glory. where the colonel says to burn the village, and the other colonel and the major goes, "We're not doing that. That's a legal order." He goes, "Good. Then I'll have you court-martialed, and I'll take all your soldiers away from you, and I'll treat them all like slaves." He went, "Burn the village." Was that his fault? He was an officer. Maybe he should have. Maybe he should have shot him right there. Maybe he should have. Maybe. But now do you blame all those soldiers who burned the village? With 2 officers tell them to burn the village. It's the soldiers' fault. What are you going to do? You're out fighting a war somewhere, Vietnam. You're in Germany fighting in World War II, whatever. And your captain comes by and says, "Shoot that SS guy," which you saw in the movie. You saw in the movie Fury. That's against the law. You can't just shoot a prisoner. That's against the law. You can't do. That's illegal. So even though he was an SS guy and probably deserved to be shot, that's still illegal. You can't just shoot prisoners. They have surrendered. They're unarmed. Against the law. He says, "Shoot him." You're not going to shoot him? It's a legal order. You're not going to shoot him? Burn the town. I'm not going to burn it. Good. I'll put a bullet in you. And everyone around you goes, "Burn the town or I'll put a bullet in you too." I'll watch him shoot you. And laugh. What are you going to do? You burn the village. I don't mean to sound so cruel. I'm just being real. I'm trying to be real here. That's all. All right. Anyway. All righty. Let me keep going down here if I can. Where was I? Robert says, "Where are the third parties?" You're looking at them, brother. With the 2 major parties being at record levels of unpopularity, third parties should be organizing their behinds off. I'm just disconnected because I don't see it. No, because the rules are against it. The rules are against it. The rules stop you from creating it. The rules are blatantly unfair, which is why I'm trying my best to push this forward. Yes, absolutely. Alrighty. Gotta keep going down here if I can. All right. Okay, guys, a bunch of back and forth. I appreciate that. All right. Morgan says, "Same way Governor Gavin Newsom trolling Trump, all caps, I'm not yelling." Yes. Morgan, you are correct. Newsom has done some very good trolling and it has worked very well. Newsom being the guy who I'm going to fight Trump. He's done a very good job of that. Democrats eat that up. They love it. They're going out of their way. They're trying to push it. Yes. And it's smart, right? Again, if you're Republican, you may not get that because it seems like it's not working. But if you can put yourself in a Democrat's mind, again, established Democrat. Some of the more left Democrats may not care or may be angry or they want their issues done. But if you're more of an established Democrat, this is what you want to hear, particularly if you're donor class. Your donor class? Hell yes, you want to hear this. Absolutely. Look, the biggest piece I think we have right now we're talking about is the idea of really of respect, right? More than anything. And is there a way that you can know whether or not you are truly respectful? Oh, there is. You know what you can do? Head over to the advocates. Yes, you can. Head over to the advocates and take the human respect test. Yes, you can. Click the link that is actually in the description on YouTube and on Facebook. Click that specific link. Head on over there and take the human respect test. Click on that where it says quizzes and apps. Down you'll see human respect. Click that. It's 3 minutes. That's all it is. How respectful are you? You might go, "Larry, I am very respectful." Well, let's see if the test says that or not. Or maybe you're not. How much do you respect human beings? How much do you respect your fellow human being? Figure it out by taking the human respect test. Click that link that I talked about. Head over to the advocates. And once you take it, as I keep telling you, once you take it, after you've done so, what I want you to do, share it. I always ask you to share it all the time. I ask you to share it. If you share it, what happens? People see it, go, "Wait a minute, I'm worried about this. I think this is kind of cool." Then they come over and they take it. And it starts more and more conversations. Guys, they're a sponsor of the show. It's free, costs you nothing. It is absolutely free. Go over to the Advocates for Self-Government so we can change how we think about self-governing ourselves. Yes, right? That's the whole point. It's one of the big points we're trying to do. Head on over there and make that happen. The Advocates for Self-Government, theadvocates.org. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. So, all right, I'm keep going if I can. No, a bunch of these. All righty. Mastermind says, "Larry, money isn't real. Stop using your peasant mind." Well, money's real if we say it's real. Kind of. Yeah. Brona says, "Larry, while you and I disagree on the path of freedom, I think you are a brilliant political consultant. Oh, thank you, my friend. I have made decent money on it. So the market kind of agrees with you. People have paid me a decent amount of money to make that happen. So yes, sometimes that's true. I don't always get it, but sometimes I do. Yes, more people should give me more money. Yes. I understand how this works. If that makes any sense. I see how it works. And one of the biggest issues that I have, one of the things that makes me good at what I do, believe it or not, is actual empathy. I'm not joking. I'm able to, better than most, there are some people better than me, obviously, but I'm better than most. I can kind of understand what someone else is thinking. I can put myself kind of in their head better than most people can. And I think that helps. And I try my best whenever possible to not let my personal feelings, I'm still human and I still do it. I'm saying I try very hard to not let my personal feelings affect the outcome. This is the outcome you want. This is how we get it. And I did that because I used to be a business consultant and we'd focus on the outcome, right? How do we get the outcome that we want? One of the things I would teach leaders is most people will say things to me when they're talking about communications, say things like, Larry, look, all I can do is say what the truth is. It's not my, responsibility how someone takes it. Okay, when you're not a leader, true. When you're a leader, 100% wrong. When you're leading, how they take it is your responsibility. You're leading. When you're not leading, you're responsible for your information to be accurate. That's all that matters. I'm saying the truth. That's it. I'm good. I'm done. When you're leading, the outcome matters. Well, they're going to take it the wrong way. Then stop saying it that way. Well, I'm not responsible for how they take it. If you're leading, yes, you are. You may not like that. Well, then don't lead. Just be you. Say what you want to say. Be all self-righteous. As some people want to be, I'm righteous because I say the truth. Nobody cares, but you care, so you be self-righteous. What people care about is what's the outcome. I'm not saying lie. You have never heard me say lie. They lie all the time. You've never heard me say lie. I don't think lying is a good idea. I don't do it myself. That's why I do things live. I'm saying what I actually feel. It doesn't mean I have to say everything. I cannot say certain things, which you will often hear me do. But you won't hear me say a lie. You won't hear me say it. If I say something that's wrong, it's because I'm wrong, not because and that rarely happens, as you know, like never happens. Anyway, it's because I'm wrong, not because I'm lying. If you understand that, it changes how you think. So anyway, hope that was helpful. Yes. Phil says, Mastermind, I'll take all your fake money if you want something off your hands. I'll do that favor for everyone. See, Phil's a caring nurturer. That's why. That he cares about you, Mastermind. He cares about you. Yes, absolutely. So Rick says Mike wants to date Crystal. Okay. I rarely say I can speak for Mike. In this case, I'm going to speak for Mike. He does not want to date Crystal. In this case, Mike, I know Mike's not mad at me. In this case, I'm speaking for Mike. He does not want to date Crystal. I can guarantee that shit. He does not want to date Crystal. So, yeah. Again, I don't usually speak for Mike. In this case, I will. I am that sure he does not want to date her. That's true. So, anyway, all righty. Let me keep going. All right. HVAC says, let's be honest, both Democrats and Republicans have to feed their base to get reelected. Yes, and to raise money, 100%. A lot of this is about raising money. A lot of it is. A lot of it's about raising money. Absolutely. Yeah. So Gene says, where would the money from the New York State Fund come from? The main place it can come from. It can come from leasing out state land. It could come from selling state land. It could come from nuclear power plants generating energy and selling it abroad. It could come from that too. Could come from hard currency and cryptocurrency. Could come from being backed by state income tax, which is about $80 billion a year. So yeah, you could back it many different ways. I think you have to come up with a plan of a combination of all those things, because if people see multiple ways of money coming in, they're more likely to want to invest, because individuals could also invest, right? When the big companies invest, they would all get a dividend every year. So they put the money in. They'd never get it back. It's like an annuity. You put the money in, you never get it back, but you get an ongoing payment. So people would invest to get an ongoing payment. So we could do that too. So yes, because they would just pay out X% or whatever the case may be. So yeah, you can do that too. Also up to you, whatever the case may be. So, That's how that would work. Hope that answers your question. So, all righty. Let's see. Bronner says, again, you're right, Larry. Dems change their moral positions quicker than I change my socks, my body, my choice. Now get to jab or board the rail car. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yes, you're not wrong. All righty. There's a rail car. Well, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. I wish he was wrong. I wish he was wrong. Bronner says, with Republicans, as loony as I personally find them, they really are more consistent with their lunacy than the Dems. There's been an exception, though. And the exception has been Trump. Generally speaking, I would say that's true. But Trump has changed Republicans in many ways. Trump was the first time Republicans said, we don't care about having a platform. That wasn't a thing before. Republicans had a platform. Since Trump, they don't care. Whatever. We don't care. That's been different. And as Trump changed his mind, Republicans have changed their mind. So I think with the exception of him, I think that's true. Yes. Gracie says, vote for Larry. He won't take your crap. True. She gets it. Thank you. You get it. I appreciate that. Andrea says, if we get into it with Venezuela, what would stop Russia from getting involved? They're allies after all. The same thing that stops us from getting involved in Ukraine. Yes, the same thing. In theory, would Russia want to get involved if they could? Probably not. Maybe money-wise if they could, but they can't. How do I know they can't, right? Why am I saying that? Because Syria. Russia, while is not falling apart, it is seriously engaged in Ukraine. It is spending a lot of time, money, energy, bodies, blood, treasure, a lot in Ukraine. To be clear, that does not mean they're collapsing. That's not a thing. That's propaganda. They're not collapsing. But they are putting a lot of time, money, blood, energy, treasure into Ukraine. A lot. With that in mind, how do I know that? Because when Syria hit, when basically the Turks invaded Syria, Russians did nothing. When Israel invaded Syria, Russians did nothing. And they could have. They was supposedly backing them. All Russians did was say, hey, Assad, you can hang out in Moscow if you want. I mean, we'll give you that. You can come to Moscow. That's what they did. The Russians, by the way, you guys don't know, they had two bases. And I think two bases in Syria. One was a land base, one was a naval base. They wanted to keep the naval base. They were like, no. If you take our naval base, like, okay, we're fighting. Like, they were not going to give that up. They were like, we're not giving up the naval base. And they literally said to the Turks and to everybody, hey, can we keep our naval base? The Turks went, are you going to fight? Can we move our troops from the land base over to the naval base without getting killed? And they said, and you're just going to walk away? And Russians said, yeah. And they went, deal. And that literally happened. So the Russians just took their people from the one land base they had, moved it to the naval base, kept the naval forces there, kept the base, and shut up. And just watched the Turks take over Syria and install that guy that they put in now, who used to be a bad guy and now was a good guy. And then when the Israelis invaded from the south, the Russians went, so they did nothing. Did nothing. So, yeah. So why would I think they get involved in Venezuela? Oil? I mean, maybe, but they're a petrostate too. Russia's also a petrostate. Maybe, but how much money are they going to put in? Now, if the Ukraine war is over, maybe. And this is what I keep saying. There is a reason why so many people in this world want that Ukraine war to keep going. I understand why, which is why I said last year when Trump was like, I'm going to get rid of it in a day. I was like, no way. There are so many people who want that war to keep going. Why? Once that war is over, whether it's over this week, next year, whenever it's over, you are now going to literally have tens of thousands of trained Russians and Ukrainians, mostly Russians, sadly, Russians and Ukrainians who are trained in the current combat system, trained in drone warfare, trained in drone defense and drone assault, trained in all the trenching, all the stuff of modern warfare, trained. and they don't want to go back to working at the gas station. They don't want to go back to working in some factory. Why? They're trained, they're bloodied. They can go be mercenaries anywhere. If they go back home to wherever home is, they're going to be getting maybe $500 a month. I'm not even joking. Maybe $500 a month. You can get $3,000 a month. Easy being a mercenary. Easy $3,000 a month compared to $500 a month. So you get $3,000 a month and they're paying for everything for you. That's $3,000 a month. So you keep $500 in your pocket to spend on bullshit. You send $2,000 home every freaking month to your family or your whatever. Why would you go wherever? Well, in that case, you might go to Venezuela. Yeah. Venezuela says, I got Americans invading. Huh. I got tons of gas that I can't sell. Russians, you could buy it. Or you could take it while I bring these mercenaries in. And all of a sudden, I got 20,000 trained Russian mercenaries in Venezuela who just came from Ukraine. And they're taking it for oil, not even for dollars. Taking barrels of oil. Russian tankers come in. You going to bomb Russian tankers? No. Not if the war's over, you're not. Russians come in, grab the oil, leave, drop off 20,000 soldiers. How's America going to invade Venezuela with 15,000 American soldiers and Marines against 20,000 trained Russians with drones, with at least 50,000 drones, if not 100,000 drones that we don't have, America does not have, which are no longer sitting in Ukraine anymore. So, assuming that war keeps going, there is no reason why Russia will get involved in Venezuela. No way. If that war ends, Russia won't be involved. Those private military companies that has nothing to do with Russia, clearly I'm kidding, but officially, they will totally get involved. You're gonna see Russian troops all over Africa, guaranteed, all over Africa, and maybe all over South America too. We'll see. It happens. This is why the Spanish invaded the Americas. They just finished fighting the Moors, the Muslims, and they had all these thousands of conquistadors. And the Spanish were like, I don't want them in my streets. They might take me over. Hey, go to America. Do that. Get out of here. And they did. And Putin do the same thing. You think Putin's going to want 20,000 trained hardcore soldiers pissed off in Russia? He ain't going to want that. Go fight in Africa. That's what's going to happen. Guaranteed. So anyway, that's how it works. Phil says, cry me as you go to Turkey. That'd be funny. Yes. HVAC says, Russia isn't winning. They aren't losing. Ukraine isn't going to reduce their military to 600,000. If they did, they'll just increase the size of their police force. It's a valid point. I'm with you completely. Right. They're not going to. That's the biggest thing. Why would you want it? Right. They wanted to bring it down, I thought, to like 100,000, some crazy like that was like the original goal. Then they raised it up to something, whatever. And now I think it's over 1 million now, if I'm not mistaken. They want to reduce it. But yeah, it's a problem. I totally get it. I disagree with you, though. Russia is winning, just very slowly. Russia is playing a game of attrition, and it's a horrible game, and they are winning. How do I define winning? You might want to ask that. How do I define winning? I define winning by two things. One, you are inflicting more casualties upon the enemy than you are taking. One, that isn't the only thing, but you add these together. Two, your ability to keep the fight, keep fighting, meaning things like resources, infrastructure. Yours is either getting stronger or not getting as weak as theirs. Theirs is getting weaker faster than yours. Both those things are true. Lastly, you are taking, by every month, you are taking far more land than you are losing. That's been true since that fight in Kursk, a year and a half ago, whenever that was. It's been true for at least, 18 months? So for 18 months or so, maybe it's 2 years even by now, whatever it's been. They've been taking more land, giving up more casualties, and losing infrastructure less. That's winning. Now, that might not be winning like where it's sweeping through the lands, whatever, but they're still winning. It's just a very slow slog, but they are still winning. I can't imagine anyone thinking that Ukraine isn't losing. Ukraine's losing. Again, they're not like invading Kiev, but they are losing. It's just a long. Everyone thought it was going to be World War III. It's World War I. Yes. Gracie says, people and countries with mineral rights tend to get what they want. Ooh. Yeah. Yes. That's something. All right. Let's see here. Bronna says, ahem, Ron Paul was right. He tends to be right. I mean, he does. He tends to be right. Yes. Shelley says, Andrea, Russia would only care if we took Venezuelans' oil. I'm not sure they would even at that. I don't know if they can. He offered to take the oil. He's like, just take the oil. He offered. He's like, take it. Just take it. That's it. I just let me stay in power. Just take it. And we were like, well, Trump even said it. Trump said, yeah, it's okay. Yes. All right. Let's see here. Bronna says that's 100% correct. At Liberty Lady, I'm still here. Larry knows how to engage folks in discussion. I try. Yes. Ron Paul. Robert says Ron Paul is for the conservatives / Republicans. What Bernie Sanders was for the left. I may even give him the edge because he truly believes his positions while Bernie acquiesced. Ooh. You know what? I've never heard someone on the left do that. Give Ron Paul more credit than Bernie Sanders. That is very insightful of you, Robert, and also very open of you to do that because I know you lean left. That is, yeah, I think it's probably true. But Bernie's still going. I'll give him that. Bernie is still going, but he did acquiesce. I agree. Yes, absolutely. So, Gracie said, Larry, did you see the National Guardsman who was shot by an Afghan? Oh, is he an Afghan? I haven't seen that yet. He's Afghan national. Did you see the duopoly jump on it almost before I hit the news? I didn't know he was an Afghan national. I didn't hear that. I just knew the last I saw, they didn't say the background of the person. The last I saw. And that was maybe an hour before the show. So probably 2.5 hours ago. I guess either I missed it or, yeah, whatever. I'm not sure. I don't know. Yes. All righty. HVAC says Putin won't get everything he wants. He'll get some of the things he wants. Outlawing Ukrainian language. That's not happening. So that's the cap. Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. But I think what I meant, and I should have been clearer in what I said. Let me be clearer in what I said, because I get what you're saying, and I don't think I was clear. What I meant was the land, and that's what I said, the Donbass. He will get the provinces that he wants. The land he will get. But the other piece, I think you're right. He's not going to get an outlaw of the language. He's not going to get that. I think you're right. Russia gets territory near its border. That probably happened. Yeah. I think we're on the same page. He's going to get the land. Will he get the other things he wants? At one point, Putin will have to say, okay, and declare victory and walk away. The issue is Putin has to be able to go back and say to his people that he won. If he can't say that, he's not going to stop fighting. He's not. Doesn't matter what happens. He has to be able to go back and say he won. I think, this is my view, if he gets the land part, that he can say he won. I won. Look, I got all the land, right? And someone might go, but you didn't get this or that. Oh, that's no, who cares? I got the land. I won. I feel like that's the issue. So, yeah. Now, this is, what do you think about Senator Mark Kelly? I think he's like all the rest of them. He thought this was the right way of raising money. I think he cares either way about any of this shit at all. I don't. I think he just wanted to raise money, and it worked. It was a good troll. That's what I think it is. So, yeah. That's what I think it is. So, all righty. He says, Braun, I want to go on a membership show, but I'm afraid I'll get on my soapbox and talk too much. I will control you. Don't worry. It's my job. It's fine. Don't mind at all. All good. Yes. Stop the madness. The academies, Naval, West Point, Air Force, have all been politically captured the same way as civilian universities. I'm going to do a hot take that some of you are not going to like. West Point has come to a point where it puts out a whole lot of mediocrity. People hate me saying it, but I think you see it. When's the last time you saw a really impressive general come out of West Point? Just saying. They're pushing mediocrity, man. I think you're right. And people don't like it. But yeah, you're right. Adronic says, Elise promised to spend more on this campaign than anyone ever has. I'm sure she will, because she'll raise so much. She'll still keep 3, 4, or 5 million in her pocket to put in her PAC when she's done, so she can pay herself a salary for the next 3 or 4 years. So yeah, that she'll do. But yeah, she'll spend. She'll spend money, raise a bunch, keep 3 or 4 million, whatever the number is, put it in a PAC for herself, and pay herself a salary when this is over. She's not winning. She knows she's not. I meet people who support her who go, she can't win. I'm not even joking. I wish I was joking. They know she can't win. And they still are like, well, we got to support her. Why? Because Republicans. That's the reason why. Silly. But they do. You're absolutely right. Yes. All right. Gracie says, if the Epstein files get released, I said the Epstein, I'm getting demonetized. We have the Massey to thank. Do you think this will cause Massey to get primaried out? No. They're already trying to primary him. I don't think it will work. I don't. I think he's going to beat his primary challenger. He looks good. He's still going to stay because he's popular. He's popular. Look, Massey is popular. Trump's popular too, but not as popular as Massey in his own district. Plus, Trump hasn't had a very strong coattails. In that case, he's similar to Obama. Obama was very good at getting himself elected. He wasn't good at getting others elected. That wasn't his skill set. He was not good at that, right? Trump is at that. He's not great. He's mediocre at best. He's not great at getting other people elected. So, yeah, I think we'll see. So, all righty. Let me keep one down here. I'm ignoring the bot, Mike. I heard you. I'm ignoring the bot. So, you guys going back and forth a lot. I agree with that. Phil says, the Sharpe way is separate from the campaign, but Larry loses money producing this show. Sadly, that's true. For those you don't know. Yes. I know a lot of you think, Larry, you make a ton of money. I don't. I lose money on this show. I do this because I think it matters. I do this so I can stay relevant, understand things. I do this to keep you guys connected so there's some hope. But no, I just lose money on this. Every single month, I go into debt over this show. He's correct. That's true. But I think I was bugging you for cash. I'd like to make it to where I actually made a little bit of money so I could put some money into this to advertise it. But I got horribly shadow banned years ago. Never recovered from it. Still haven't recovered from it. I have actually considered more than once just ending this thing. Just ending it, not doing it anymore. Maybe start from scratch. Maybe don't bother anymore because it is a financial burden for me. That is true. It is. I just lose money. Yeah. He's not wrong. So, yes, we are trying. We are trying. So, anyway. All right. Let's see. Nose says, if the judges won't enforce the Constitution, then we the people have a job to do. It's our Constitution. Yet we don't enforce it. Who's to blame? Well, we don't have guns either, so I don't know. So, anyway, you're not wrong. All righty. Let's see if I can go down here. All right. Mass says, Larry, speaking of sticking a microscope up someone's ass, can you recite some of RFK Jr.'s love poems? I don't know how. There must be some joke in there I'm not getting. But I don't. Yeah, there must be something there I'm not getting. I don't know. Am I missing a joke there? I don't know. Hold on. Is there something about love poems? I don't see it. Okay, I guess I missed it. All right. I just quickly looked for it. I couldn't find anything, so I must have missed it. So, all right. Let's see here. Okay, keep going down here again. Okay, I went on there. Keep going. All right, Shelley says, I knew a woman who was a nurse for the regime, but was also a sharpshooter to take out the regime. The Germans have suspected her. Ooh, that's an interesting one. I like that. Jean says, my German teacher grew up in Germany. She told us that her dad said something about the man. Her dad was never seeing him again. Yeah. I'll give you something else. You guys know that I have German family also. And prior to the war, part of my German family was relatively wealthy. Not like rich, but well off. And so some of them were officers. So the officers were, one of them was one of the oldest patriarch. He was an officer in the Wehrmacht. And he was ordered to, the story goes from the family, he was ordered to shoot some prisoners. We don't know who those prisoners are. Prisoners. He refused. If you were of a more elite status in that time of Germany, they didn't kill you. That's not a thing they would do. If you were some guy, they would. But if you were, they didn't. What they would do is send you to Russian front. So both of the two seniors in my family, one was an officer, one was not. They both went to the Russian front. One of them died. Both were captured. One died right after he got out of prison. One was kept in a prison camp until 1948. The war ended in 45. He was captured in 44. So for 4 years, he sat in a Russian prison camp. The other one died. So his first one's punishment for not doing the right thing was death. The second one was 4 years in a Russian prison camp where he barely ate. And he came out and was so battered and was never taken care of that eventually he just dropped dead in the middle of the street. He didn't know why. There was shrapnel, which is pieces of like pieces of like a grenade or an artillery piece that had been floating around his body for years. And one piece just hit his heart. He dropped dead. Because they never bothered to give him any assistance. So there was a piece floating around. They had no idea why he died. Autopsy. Oh, it's a piece of shrapnel in his heart. Oh, it was that killed him. So yeah, so in my own family, people who said no, that's what happened. So yeah. All righty. Rick says they always get the privates. True. Robert says, yes, the majority tend to be followers, which is why those who face persecution with bravery mostly become topics in history. True. Also true. Yes. Phil says, everyone thinks they'd be Harriet Tubman, but there was only one Harriet Tubman. Yes. Everyone thinks that they would have been Rosa Parks. No. You'd have been like, get in the back of the bus. That's what you'd have been. So yes. No, I can teach you to cuss, Larry. No, brother. I could teach you. I keep it here. People who know me, I can teach you. Robert says, many people would like to believe that they would be on the righteous side of history during a large-scale injustice. Hold on. But that's much easier said when there's no risk involved. Yes. Yes, I agree. That's my entire part. That's my entire point. 100%. That's my entire part. Punish the leaders. Punish the leaders and punish them harshly. The followers, they're human beings, right? They're human beings. That's the issue. They're just human. Most people always say, well, it was because the Germans were this kind of people, whatever. What happened in Germany could have happened in France, could have happened in Russia, could have happened in Poland. It happened to happen in Germany, but it could happen anywhere. Anti-Semitism was all over Europe. I mean, it still is in many places, but not to that level, obviously, not to that level. But at that time, anti-Semitism was all over. It wasn't like the Russians loved Jews. They didn't. The Poles didn't love Jews. Why do you think so many of those camps were in Poland? That wasn't just a random, there's some space here. No, because the Poles were like, yeah, get rid of them. Poles were the same way. So yeah, it wasn't like it was just Germans. So that could happen any place. I'm not excusing. I'm going to be very clear. I'm just saying, punish the leaders. That's all I'm saying. The leaders should be punished and harshly. Ken says, the thing that makes me curious with James is to hear her testimony. If it's mortgaged as a primary and she's a resident of New York, it's mortgage fraud. If she claims this actually was her primary, then she wouldn't have been as with the AG election fraud. She did to herself. Yes, I agree. And I don't feel sorry for her. Again, she played that BS game with Trump, and now she's getting hammered. Let her get hammered. Let her get hammered. I'm not mad. Yes, I'm not mad. So hold on, let me see if I can grab another piece of that. Oh, that's it. Okay, good. All right. All righty. Brona says, the empathy thing always grips me. I don't know you professionally or personally, but listening to you talk, I can't imagine you not being good at consulting. Thank you. That is my skill set. That's how I make my money. I have been a consultant now for 21 years. Yeah, 21 years. I started when I was 18. Anyway, no, I'm kidding. But anyway, yeah, for 21 years now. So yeah, that's how I paid my bills for years, how I fed my family for years. So yeah, it is what I do, 100%. So Rick says, feed the base. Let them know it's Christmas time. Yay. Do they know it's Christmas time at home? True. Yes, absolutely. All right. Gracie says, what I love about the Pauls and Massey is they have a consistent platform and stick with it, regardless of how the political winds are changing. Larry has the same core beliefs and policies. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Yes. Borna says, I stand corrected. Trump absolutely has changed the moral platform of Republicans. Yeah, I think it has. Trump has changed it. Trump has changed it. It wasn't that way before. Will it go back? I think it will. I think Mike's even said this. Mike said that he thinks Rubio's coming back into play. If he's right, neocons coming back. If neocons come back, that's how it will work. Right? That's how it will work. Yes. So Gracie says, even my husband misses the adrenaline rush at the core. I get what you're saying about Russian mercenaries. And my husband did not want to reenlist, but he misses the field sometimes. Me too. And it's been many years since I've been a Marine. Many years. But it's a true story. When I was getting out of the Marine Corps the first time, I was in for 7 years. I did a 3-year tour, a 4-year tour, and a 3-year tour. In my 4-year tour, when I was getting out, I was thinking, okay, I can get out. What can I do? The problem is I spent all my time on the ground side, right? Artillery, infantry. And I was young. I was 17 when I joined. So I'm 20, 21 years old. When I'm thinking about getting out now. I'm like, do I get out? What do I do? The problem is I didn't have a college degree. This is many years ago. Didn't have a college degree. Didn't have a real good skill set. I mean, I was a good Marine. I could capture a building. I could call in fire. I could do that. But that wasn't what like most companies wanted. So I literally thought about being a mercenary. When I was getting out, there was still a civil war happening in Angola. And I thought, I'll go to Angola. I'll be a mercenary trainer. I'll train guys in artillery. I'll train guys. I was an expert shot. I was a marksmanship coach in the Marine Corps. I'll be a marksmanship coach. I'll train marksmanship. I'll do basic training. I'll do artillery training, spotter training, all that stuff. I can do it all, right? And I'll do that and I'll make a ton of money. And that's what I'll do. I literally thought about doing that. But then as I was thinking, I thought, well, yeah, but so I'll spend 2 years or whatever in Angola. I'll train a bunch of people. I'll pick one side. I didn't know it was fighting. I had to pick whatever side was going to pay me. I didn't care. I literally, back in the day, those I actually went and bought the magazine called Soldier of Fortune magazine. I don't know if that still exists, but it did back then. And that's where you would read and see where you can go become a mercenary. That was a real thing back then. So I was looking. I thought, oh, they need people in Angola. I can go there. But then I realized, okay, so I go there for 2 years, make a bunch of money. But then I come back and I'm in the same spot. I just got some cash in my pocket, but that's it. And then there was a movie about mercenaries. Oh my God, I forgot it was. What was the name of that movie? It was about mercenaries in Africa. The Wild Geese. I think that, and I saw that movie. Yeah, it was The Wild Geese, I think was the name of the movie, if I'm not mistaken. It's about South African mercenaries. Or was it just African mercenaries? I forgot which one. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. So anyway, I changed my mind and didn't do it. So hold on, I'm going to look for that. Is it The Wild Geese? Hold on, let me check it out. I think that was the name of the movie. Is that what the movie? Oops, hold on. And I'm bouncing around here. Yes, that's what it's called. The Wild Geese, 1978 movie with British actors. I saw that movie. Richard Burton, Roger Moore, Richard Harris. Yes. Yeah. So The Wild Geese. That was the movie. And it was about mercenaries in Africa. I saw that movie and I was like, yeah, I don't know. So, but it wasn't the 70s when I did that. But anyway. So yeah, I put that one in there. All right. I did that. That movie was 1978. There we go. Okay. All right. Got this one if I can. Let's see here. Well, you guys doing all kind of, wow. Okay. You got a lot of eating. I can see turkey, green beans. Okay. You guys are eating. I love it. Tomorrow I'll be having a keto Christmas. I will be having a keto Christmas. I will. So yes, I will be having keto Christmas. So, all righty. Go here. A couple of more, a couple more super chats. Let's see here. Phil, thank you for $2. $250 to talk to Elise. Sharpe AMAs free or $2. True. Yes. What you'll hear often is people say, I've crossed the state and gone to every place. They have. They've gone from fundraiser to fundraiser to fundraiser. Yes. I don't do that. I go from gun shop to diner to vape shop. That's where I go. You just come see me for free, and I do this. So you can just talk to me all day long. So yes, you don't have to drop $250. Don't get me wrong. If you've got $250 to give me, please give me $250. I need the money. Absolutely. I've got to do this. So if I can, yes. However, not required. He is correct. Stop the madness. Thank you for being a member, my friend. Thank you. Many of the Yahtzee officers and higher-ups ended working for NASA in our nuclear power program. Others are in Peru and Argentina. True. There were a lot of them who went to work for nuclear power. Yes, nuclear plants, and also for NASA. They got us, the Yahtzees got us to the moon. Or did they? Yes, that's true. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. So, yeah, so if you're the right kind of bad guy leader, we are good to you. But if you're the wrong kind, well, guess you got to go to, you got to go to the gallows. That's how that works. So, yes. You guys are talking all about chow. Are you trying to make me hungry? It is absolutely working. So, man, okay. Notice it says, Larry spreads libertarianism. I'm so happy he does. I learn lots from Larry's shows. Oh, thank you. Yes. Gracie says, it still blows me away how you're still being hosed by the shadow ban. You once had thousands of viewers for a show. I know you remember. I used to do great. And I just got hammered. Just hammered. I'm trying to bring it back. If I can raise enough cash, I can then, the way to do it from what I hear is I have to advertise to my actual people who are my followers to get them back, and then they will explode it, and then I can break the algorithm. That's what I'm supposed to try to do, but this is why I'm trying to keep raising money. So, yes, there we go. All righty. Let's see here. You guys went back and forth. Kintsugi's here. How are you, my dear? Hey, guys, just dropping by and say happy Thanksgiving. Have a wonderful holiday and weekend. It is nice, guys. Do have a great Turkey Day for those of you who will be celebrating. I'm seeing all about the stuff we're talking about. So, yes. So he says, we have to get Larry on popular shows like Rogan to get some of our crowd back. Also true. Yes. You guys can bug Rogan for me again. I need him to come back on again. I need to get back on him again. Yes, absolutely. If you can, let's do it. That will be amazing. Yes. He says, what kind of show are you talking about having on Friday? And what time will that be? It'll probably be a 7 o'clock show. It'll probably be a family show. I'm thinking about doing a family show. I haven't done a family show in a while, and I think I should. So I think I will. I think I will. So John says, let's face it, something very similar happened to the Soviet Union. It did. You're not wrong. You are not wrong. Yes. You are not wrong. It's absolutely true. There were a lot of Jews had to leave or they were going to not exist. Monitor says, Larry was a sergeant, USMC, staff sergeant, my friend. Yes. You can see it right there. Yes, correct. So, absolutely true. All righty. Martha says, good X. Hold on. Is character in Deer Hunter with Russia. Oh, I remember the Russian roulette. Yes, that was great. Wasn't Dogs of War. No. Yes, wasn't Dogs of War. But that was a good one too. Dogs of War was also good. That was with Dogs of War was with, hold on. Christopher Walken? Is that right? Hold on, I'm gonna check. I think that was Christopher Walken. Hold on. That was Wild Geese. I think, and they had that X thing where they were firing like, yes, I think that was Dogs of War, right? I think that was Christopher Walken, if I'm not mistaken. And that was, yes, it was indeed. That was 1980, so a couple years after. Yes, that was, let me get that one here. If I can pop that up, do it have like a Dogs of War film? And there it is here. Let me pop this up for you. So yes, that was Dogs of War. That was the other one. But it was, I did see Dogs of War, which also made me think. That was also Africa too, though. That was the whole thing. Dogs of War, that says Christopher Walken right there. And he's got that big thing. It's like a grenade launcher. He had that. That was Dogs of War. And then this one is the Wild Geese. That was Wild Geese. You remembering that time? That time, there was a bunch of people. There was a bunch of civil wars in Africa, and and it was after Vietnam, right? All those Vietnam vets had left Vietnam in 73, 74, and 75. Well, these movies are 78 and 80. Why? All those Vietnam vets, we had tens of thousands of them who were all trained. They all went to Africa to fight. That's what happened. The same thing that happened after that, right? They all went there. The same thing was happening now after this Ukrainian war. Same thing. They're going to go fight somebody else, probably Africa. Civil wars. Same thing. That's what happened after World War II. After World War II, many of the Wehrmacht soldiers, they didn't feel comfortable in Germany anymore. What did they do? They joined the French Foreign Legion. That's not a fake thing. That's a real thing. They joined the French Foreign Legion. And where'd they fight? Africa and French colonies. Yes, there were entire units that were fighting in French guys that only spoke German. Some of the marching songs the French still sing to this day are German marching songs from all the Germans who joined the French Foreign Legion in the late 1940s and early 50s. Yes, happens all the time. Once these men get accustomed to that lifestyle, they want to keep it. And they stay soldiers. They just become mercenaries. It's a common thing. It's happened again and again and again. So this is right after Vietnam. It was the Wild Geese and then Dogs of War was popular, right? Christopher Walken, by the way, also was in Deer Hunter. Yes, also was in Deer Hunter. Yes. Two very good movies. I'm going to have to watch the movies now. That's your fault, HVAC soldier. You make me watch that movie now. So, yes. All righty. All righty. Where was I? Okay, covered that. That's all good. Keto Christmas. I'm having a keto Thanksgiving. Did I say keto Christmas? I meant keto Thanksgiving. There we go. All right, that's what I meant. But I'm going to have a keto Christmas too, because I have a keto everything. So, yes. It says Deer Hunter, Christopher Walken, and then Walken was Deer Hunter. Yes, he was in both. Yes, absolutely both of those. Yeah. Stop Man says lots of civil wars in Africa thanks to the CIA. True. True. Yes, absolutely. All righty. Brian says, can you all picture Larry as Drill Sergeant Hartman from Full Metal Jacket? I can't. Larry smiles too much. Oh, thank you. Yes, absolutely. I could be a real asshole as a Marine, though. That's true. I could be a real asshole as a Marine. Yes. So, anyway. Okay. Where was I? Philip said there was a German soldier who served in the French, Indochina, and Korea. There were many of them who did. Absolutely. And there's an interesting book story called The Forgotten Soldier by Guy Sayer. He wrote a book, and he was I think I told the story before. He was half French, half German. And when the French invaded, the Germans invaded France and conquered France, the propaganda was, well, now you're allies. So, because Vinci France is now ally of Germany. So he joined the German Wehrmacht thinking, okay, well, I'm half German, and he speaks German and French, so he could join. And he fought in the Russian front. And he thought the entire time that he was fighting for the right everything until the end. He was like completely disenfranchised at the end, like, oh my God, what happened? So yes, couldn't believe it. So anyway, that was kind of an interesting piece for that. And you guys brought the dogs of war. I appreciate that. And that also. So hold on. Let me pop into, I have very often told you guys, if I can right here. All right, there we go. I very often told you guys about all my shows that you can see on CiVL. And there are many shows that you can see from me on CiVL. It's true. But it's not just that. There's something else I want to show you, if I could real fast, about it. It's more than just my show. There is. This is me at Freedom Fest chatting with Andrew Yang 3 years ago about building coalitions. Yes, I've been talking about building independent coalitions for years, and this is me and Yang talking. You guys know, how do I know Yang? Well, there we go.
Most of you probably know I was a Democrat. How many of you here are currently Democrats? Raise your hand. Don't be shy. All right.
Not many.
Libertarians, raise your hands. That's a majority. Independents. Republicans. Let's try Democrats again. No, I'm kidding.
So anyway, he goes through and he talks, and we chat about what we're doing here. This is me talking with him.
In my state to 107 local victories in 1 year, 107 libertarians in New York. That happened in 2019. And then by 2020, all gone, erased.
So this is what I was talking about back then. You can find stuff like this on CiVL. You just type in Larry Sharpe, you'll see interviews there with Matt Kibbe, you'll see my show, you'll see the special things I talk about all the time. I have absolutely spent the time trying to build out CiVL so that you can come by and see it. And you can if you want to. CiVL.com, CiVL.com. Code is Larry10 for 10% off. If you do that and jump on board, guess what happens? You're able to watch all of the shows, see cool things I'm doing, see me and Yang talking together. You didn't think, Larry, you're full of crap. You don't know Yang. There I am right with him, you crazy people. I'm not playing around. Of course I can. So yes, I am talking about building coalitions. You're seeing me do it. CiVL is all about that. CiVL is about actually having conversation. People who think differently, people who disagree, people who are all trying to make the right thing happen. CiVL.com. Code is Larry10 for 10% off. You get there, and what happens, you start talking to people and showing them that we can have conversations without the conflict machine, just back and forth. CiVL.com. Thank you, guys. I do appreciate it. All right. Grab some of these. Larry looks good in pink. True. I am a hottie. It's true. I am a hottie. So maybe I should put more pink on. I could try that, I guess. So yeah, all good. So if we can. Oh yes, Dead Zone. That was a good movie. That was also Christopher Walken. Very nice. Absolutely. Okay. All righty. Let's see here. Gene says that civil music woke my kitten. Sorry about that. I hope your kitten goes back to sleep easily. I hope so. That would be nice. In any case, guys, here's what I want to say. Tomorrow is Turkey Day, Thanksgiving Day. And I would like you guys to do me a favor and thank me before I come off, and that is by clicking the button known as like. Please do that. Repost this if you can. It does matter. And subscribe to this channel. I ask you all the time. But here's what I am thankful for. I will tell you what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that I'm still able to do this. Most people you see, they either don't do this anymore, they quit, or they give up, or whatever. One of the reasons why I keep going is because you guys keep coming back. It's true. I built out a community that many of you know. I've met many of you personally. Many of you have had conversations with me on the phone. We've talked. Many of you talk to each other back and forth and have these conversations. It does matter to me. I feel like I'm doing my part, and I hope you feel the same way, to kind of make things better in our own little world. I wish there were more people watching. I've been trying to grow this thing. It doesn't work. What are you going to do? I haven't quit, though, because the people that we have here, I think, matter. I think you guys believe that. I hope you believe that. That's why I keep doing this, and I'm glad you guys keep coming back. Please keep coming back. It does matter. Here's what I'm going to ask you now. Tomorrow, when you are at your friends or families, whatever the case may be, there will be problems and issues and things you're going to deal with. People talk about gratitude. I know. And it sounds silly often. Don't talk about gratitude then. Instead, here's what I want you to do. Instead of talking about gratitude, say to yourself, what am I proud of? Not what am I happy for? What am I proud of? That's what I want you to think about. What are you proud of? Tomorrow, what are you proud of? Whatever it is, something proud that you've done. You've achieved something in your life that you are proud of. When you think about that thing you're proud of, whatever that thing is, say to yourself, wow, I worked hard for that thing, or I thought really smartly about that thing, or I did that thing. It took time, energy, money, whatever it is. Be thankful that you were able to achieve that. Say it again. Be thankful that you were able to achieve that. You did something that you are proud of. Be thankful for that, because that gives you actual self-esteem. That gives you an actual self-value and self-worth, whatever that is. Whatever you've done, think about that, what you're proud of. Think about that tomorrow. Be thankful for that. You'll have a better day. I'll probably see you on Friday. I hope so, because I'll be back on Friday. Remember, please comment after the live if you would. And please comment on what do you think. Please comment on what you think about Thanksgiving, because it's tomorrow. Comment on what you think about Thanksgiving. And remember, if this show is not live, you can see 2 shows pop up. Please watch one of them right away. Algo loves that rhythm, loves that. Guys, happy Thanksgiving. I will see you all very soon.